Hey everybody, it's Ellen. Welcome to class. It is May 1st, a new month, a new beginning, a time to reset, recharge, and take great care of ourselves. Today we're going to talk about food. That is going to be our coaching tip for today. We are going to talk about what we've been eating and strategies to set ourselves up for success for today, tomorrow, next month, next year. So to begin, you can either write this down or just in your mind ask yourself, what have I been eating? And I want you to be really honest with yourself. Really honest. What have you been eating during these past, what's it been, 6 weeks or so of this quarantine? And be super honest with yourself. Now, if you're at all like me, I treated the first few days, first few weeks of quarantine like it was one snow day after another. We were baking bread, never done that before, making cookies, eating yummy white flour pasta with butter, delicious things, right? And it didn't take too long for me to start feeling a little sluggish, tired. My clothes weren't fitting well, and I realized, oh my gosh, I've got to be real and I've got to check back in. So that started by me literally thinking, and then I had to start writing down all the things I had been eating that weren't necessarily in alignment with what I normally eat, and be honest with whether or not those foods were helping me, right? The other part of this was I needed to decide to be honest with myself on what I was drinking. So that's the next tip I suggest is not only think about or write down the food you've been eating, but also the beverages that you've been enjoying. So have you been drinking sweet, tasty, caffeinated beverages? Have you been drinking maybe one more glass of wine than you normally do? And again, be honest, okay? Be honest. No one's judging, no one's manipulating and changing. What we want to do right now is just be very honest with what we've been doing so we can then start to make some shifts and some changes. Okay, so once you've decided you're going to practice this technique, you're going to think about and evaluate what you've been eating and drinking. Now we want to bring in some strategies to integrate nutrient dense, colorful foods into your daily eating plan. Okay. Now, I'm not going to use the word DIET. That is a 4 letter nasty word. What we're going to talk about is bringing in more nutrient dense foods to help us crowd out the foods and beverages that don't help us. Okay. So, some ways to do that is to think about eating lots and lots of colors every day and using the vegetables and the fruits available to us to bring those colors in. So, orange, green, blue, yellow, as many colors as you possibly can. And knowing that with eating fruits and vegetables and other beans and legumes that are different colors, what they do is each different color category, they help nourish us in different ways. They help bring in different vitamins and minerals. So we want to bring in as much as we can. Okay. The other thing we want to pay close attention to is eating real foods. So I encourage you to look in your pantry, look in your refrigerator, and notice what in your pantry is something that has come from the earth, from a plant, versus something that was made in a food processing plant. Okay. So, plant in nature or a plant made out of concrete and stone, where is your food coming from? And what you can do is, as you start identifying these different foods, you can maybe put anything that came from a processing plant on one shelf in your refrigerator or in your pantry, and then put the foods that are whole foods, that are real foods, put them on another shelf in your pantry so you can really see what it is you've been eating. So you'll be putting your cans of beans, let's say, on one shelf. Those are from the earth. Okay. And you'll be putting your maybe steel cut oats on that shelf because that came from the earth. It's very low, little processing. And On the other shelf, you'll put down your bag of potato chips, or you'll put down your bag of Swedish fish, or whatever the candy is of your choice. Okay, so you're going to start to separate things, and then doing that in your pantry as well as in your refrigerator. And again, that just gives you a visual, a real understanding of what it is. And then on a daily basis, as you bring in more nutrient dense foods, again, we just want to keep bringing it in, and crowding out the other stuff. We want to do that by eating many colors, as many colors as you possibly can. And when we practice this new way, right? This is a lifestyle. This is all about just filling ourselves up with food that gives us energy as opposed to food that sucks our energy. We want to think about doing this maybe 80% of the time. So perhaps you've heard about the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the time we want to nourish ourselves and eat the foods that are so good for us. And then 20% of the time, yeah, you'll order pizza maybe tonight for dinner. You'll, have a cappuccino with sugar in it tomorrow morning or tonight after dinner, right? That's okay, but we want to comb that down to just 20%. And one way to think about that 80-20 is not just each day 80-20, but throughout the whole week. And you can plan throughout the week when that 20 is going to be. Maybe it's going to be on Friday night because you decided that's going to be the night that your family orders in food to help support the restaurants in your community. Maybe it's going to be a different day. So kind of plan out your week. Think about 80% of the time bringing in all those beautiful nutrient dense foods, nourishing your body, your mind, your spirit, and then 20% of the time enjoying the other foods. And I'm saying enjoying because I want you to enjoy it, right? I don't want you to feel like it's bad. We just want to make sure we're keeping it into a healthy proportion. So those are some strategies, right? Some tactical strategies. But now we're going to incorporate a stress management tool, a technique to help us cultivate this way of eating and help us maintain it. And it's by using mindfulness techniques. Now, remember, we've talked about mindfulness before, and it's simply the, the process of being aware, of what it is we're doing, eating, breathing, right? So for food and integrating nutrient dense foods, we want to start to incorporate mindfulness. So and using the mindfulness when we're not eating the nutrient dense foods, right? Because we still want to be able to be aware and observant of what it is that we're bringing into the body. So as you reach for the refrigerator or your pantry door, think to yourself, just ask yourself, why am I going to the refrigerator? What is it that's going on? Do I feel a sensation of hunger? Am I tired? Am I bored? Am I feeling scared or anxious? Right? Whatever it is that you're feeling, feel it. We need to feel our feelings. They're all valuable. But when we start to ask ourselves that and understand that as we are interacting with food, it helps us understand why it is we are reaching for whatever that food choice is. Okay, so it's really important. So that's one way of practicing mindfulness around food. The other is when you are shopping for the food, look what you're putting in your cart. Like really pay attention to what you're putting in your cart. Again, looking for colors, as many colors as you can. Okay. And then another part is when you're preparing food. When you're preparing food, notice the sound of the knife chopping up the carrots, or notice the sound of maybe if you're sauteing onions and garlic, what does that sound like? Or if you're boiling water for some rice, what does that boiling water sound like? Right? So using our sense of hearing anything we can hear. When you're eating food, what sounds are you literally making as you eat the food? Right? What do you hear? Right? So using our sense of hearing as to bring ourselves into a mindful way of being with our food and enjoying our food. The other thing that we want to practice is using our sense of smell. So again, being mindful is being aware of what we can smell. So food is a beautiful way to use this tool. as you're preparing food, as you're sitting down to eat the food, pay close attention to how it smells. Pay close attention. So, if you're roasting vegetables in the oven, how does that smell as that whole roasting process is taking place, right? When the food is in front of you as you sit down, not only look at it and notice the colors, but what does it smell like? What does it smell like? And enjoy that smell, right? Another way that we use mindfulness around food is utilizing our sense of taste, right? So be very vigilant to taste the food, right? Notice how it tastes. Maybe even let the food linger in your mouth just a little longer than you normally would, so you can even pick up on where in the mouth you're tasting. Is it the front of your tongue? Is it the back or the sides of your tongue? Right? So be with those tastes. So we talked about using our sense of sight, of what we see, being mindful of what we eat, our sense of taste, what we hear. The other thing is that using our sense of touch and noticing how the food feels in our mouth, the mouth feel of the food. And one way you can do that is as you're eating, you could even say to yourself, this carrot is crunchy, right? This banana is soft. My smoothie is very smooth, right? So just being aware of those sensations in the mouth, the way the food feels, but then also how it feels. You may even feel the warmth of something coming down into your belly. You may feel that warm sensation in your belly as you're eating food, or feeling the sensation of the body becoming full, right? So be very cognizant, very aware of those sensations. So, with these practices, again, the coaching technique is to really be honest with what you've been eating, enjoying over the past several weeks, and acknowledging that, and then perhaps making some very subtle shifts to bring in more colors, more nutrient dense food, using our skills of mindfulness as we enjoy the foods and as we maybe transition away from eating some foods that we have been enjoying or beverages that we've been enjoying over the past several weeks. And knowing that as we do this today, it sets us up for tomorrow, it sets us up for a week from now, a year from now, 10 years from now, taking care of this present moment, nourishing yourself, nourishing your body, nourishing your mind, nourishing your spirit. And one other way to help pull all of this together is when you are enjoying your food, is to, if it's possible, enjoy the food with somebody else, with a member of your family. If you have a cat or a dog, if you just sit and be with your animal while you're eating. And if you're not near somebody to enjoy that meal with, call a friend, do a Zoom dinner party with your parent or your sister. Incorporate other people. Now, I don't mean you have to eat with somebody all the time, because believe me, in my household, there have been plenty of meals where we're all moving in different directions because we're spending a lot of time together. But to be aware and try a few times a week to come together, or even just or once a day if that's available to you, and be together to enjoy this experience of this meal, enjoy nourishing yourself, enjoy your family being nourished, and sharing with each other all of the things that are going on, thoughts, feelings, concerns, worries, joys, whatever it is. So I wish you all well. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day. Happy May. Be well.